In spite of globalization, technology, and advances in transportation, there are still places in the world you simply can't visit. While some of us are fixated on space exploration and colonizing Mars, the truth is that some parts of our planet are still practically untouched or have even been forgotten. Other areas are home to military bases, espionage secrets, or have even forbidden to the public on the grounds that they're legally haunted. As much as we'd love to see these places in person, they all have good reason for remaining largely isolated from the outside world. Here are the top 10 most restricted areas in the world. Room 39, North Korea. In the words of journalist Kelly Olson, Room 39 is one of the most secret organizations in arguably the world's most secretive state. Created in the late 1970s, Room 39 is said to be located inside the Workers' Party building in Pyongyang, taking its name, according to some sources, from the office it occupied at the party headquarters in its early days. Although there isn't much official data on the room due to the secrecy of its activities, it's believed that it raises funds through commercial enterprises, both legal and illegal, with activities ranging from counterfeiting to the sale of gold, drugs, or weapons. This network of companies present in various parts of the world is estimated to have been able to contribute up to $2 billion a year to North Korea. It's speculated that Room 39 could be behind the sophisticated counterfeiting of $100 supernote bills that were issued over decades. The recipe for Coca-Cola is considered one of the best kept secrets in the world, and they keep it secret by stowing it away in a large security vault. Since it was created in 1886 by John Pemberton in Atlanta, this formula has been jealously guarded and few have been able to get their hands on it. The soft drink and the company were acquired in 1919 by a group of investors led by Ernest Woodruff, and from 1920, the recipe ended up under lock and key at a New York bank. In 1925 it was transferred to the Trust Company Bank in Atlanta. In 2011 the company decided to move the famous Coca-Cola recipe to an Atlanta museum, but while many tourists visit the facilities each year, few and exclusive are the people who can get through the doors of the vault. Snake Island, or Queimada Grande, Brazil. Located about 100 kilometers off the coast of São Paulo, this island might seem the ideal exotic spot in which to lose yourself, but the truth is that for decades the place has been uninhabited due to having been completely invaded by lethal snakes. Between 1 and 5 snakes per square meter inhabit the island. And if that isn't terrifying enough, it's worth noting that the snakes that live here are one of the most venomous in the world. The golden lancehead viper can reach up to half a meter in length and, with a strong, fast-acting venom, can dissolve the flesh around its bites. It's for this reason the Brazilian government expressly forbids visiting the island. North Sentinel, Andaman and Nicobar Islands. While the rest of the islands in this archipelago are somewhat larger and better known, North Sentinel, full of mangroves and surrounded by coral, has remained virtually untouched by the outside world. It might sound like paradise, but the island couldn't be further from it. While its geography makes it one of the most isolated places on Earth, it is inhabited by one of the world's few remaining uncontacted tribes. The indigenous people of this island, referred to as the Sentinelese, have had practically no influence from the modern world. Throughout history, encounters with the population have been met with violence. In 2006, they killed 2 fishermen whose boat had been dragged by the current to their shores. According to The Guardian, a 3-mile restriction zone now appears to be crossing the island to prevent visitors from entering the territory, and according to Survival, an NGO for the rights of indigenous and tribal peoples, the Indian government has abandoned any plans to contact the Sentinels. The entire tribe could be wiped out by diseases to which they have no immunity, which is why authorities respect their wish to remain uncontacted. Bangar Fort, India. Between Jaipur and Alwar in Rajasthan lie the ruins of what was once a splendid kingdom. The fort was built by the ruler of Amber Kachwaha for his youngest son in 1573, and gradually its population dwindled until in 1783 when a strong famine forced the villagers still living there to flee. Local legends state that the reason for the kingdom falling into ruin was that the fort was cursed. As the only legally recognized haunted place in India according to the Times of India, a government permit is required to be able to enter before dawn or after sundown. Although it's said that the reason is down to wild, nocturnal animals such as tigers and the lack of artificial lighting in the area, no one knows what else could be lurking in the ruins. Zhongsu National Security Education Museum, China. In 2009, China opened the doors of its National Spy Museum. Located in Nanjing, the collection at the Zhongsu National Security Education Museum exhibits the history of espionage and secret intelligence services from the early days of the Communist Party of China to the late 1920s. While checking out weapons disguised as regular objects, spy cameras, or eavesdropping devices might sound an interesting visit, the museum isn't entirely open to the public. Foreigners are completely forbidden from entering. It's just as hard to get souvenir images too. For those nationals allowed entry, it's totally forbidden to take photographs. Pizziglia, Italy. For more than 100 years, this small island, located between Venice and Lido in the Venetian lagoon, served as a quarantine station for those diagnosed with the bubonic plague and other diseases. Later, it also became the site of a mental hospital. Since the closure of the facility in 1968, the island has remained vacant. In more recent years, efforts to raise funds and restore the island have proven unsuccessful. Fort Knox, Kentucky. You've probably heard the saying, tougher to get into than Fort Knox, and there's a good reason for that. This United States Army post, located in Kentucky, is known for boasting some of the toughest security in the country. Why? It houses the United States Bullion Depository, which is used to store a large portion of the nation's gold reserves. There is a museum at Fort Knox that is open to visitors, but no unauthorized visitors are allowed inside the Bullion Depository, which, let's be honest, is where you'd want to go. Club 33, Disneyland. This private Disney club is in the heart of New Orleans Square at California's Disneyland. Though its existence was originally kept secret, most Disney fans have heard whispers about the club and its location within the happiest place on earth. However, chances are minimal that you'll ever get to see it. Membership involves thousands of dollars in initial fees and annual dues. Even if you can afford it, the waiting list for new members is reportedly over a decade long. Chernobyl, Ukraine. As fascinating as the story of Chernobyl might be, the place doesn't get many visitors, and there's a good reason why. Residents evacuated the city in 1988, following the most disastrous nuclear accident in history at the nearby Chernobyl nuclear power plant. Decades later, the area remains plagued by an unsafe level of radiation exposure, which means those with access, such as workers from the State Agency of Ukraine, can spend only a strictly regulated amount of time there. More than 30 years on, scientists estimate the zone around the former plant will not be habitable for up to 20,000 years. Svalbard Global Seed Vault, Norway. Built into a mountain on a remote island in the Svalbard archipelago, this long-term seed storage facility stands halfway between mainland Norway and the North Pole. Constructed for about $9 million, it was built to store and safeguard the world's largest collection of crops from natural or man-made disasters. The facility boasts a highly advanced security system. Only a handful of employees have permission to access the secure vault. Vatican Secret Archives. The Vatican Secret Archives houses the historic acts promulgated by the Holy See, along with a multitude of state papers, correspondence, papal account books and other important documents that the Church has accumulated dating back centuries. Access is widely restricted, with qualified scholars and researchers required to apply for entry. Even then, there are strict limitations as to what archives users are able to view and access. Yet, as far as the general public knows, the archives contain historical documents spanning at least 12 centuries, including original letters written by Michelangelo, documents relating to expenditure, correspondence, and even an entreaty written on birch bark by the Canadian Ojibwe tribe in 1887. Area 51. The details of this U.S. Air Force facility are so highly classified, we still don't even technically know what its primary function is. The intense secrecy surrounding the base, located in Nevada, has made it the subject of widespread speculation and conspiracy theories. One favorite theory is that the government houses and examines alien life and spacecraft in the secluded base. This makes the area around the facility popular with alien enthusiasts, although Area 51 itself remains restricted to intelligence and military personnel with special clearance. In 2019, a viral plan to storm Area 51 forced an Air Force spokesperson to release a statement describing the facility as an open training range for the U.S. Air Force. Bohemian Grove, California. The private, all-male club, the Bohemian Club, owns this 2,700-acre California property. Every summer, the Gentlemen's Club hosts a 2-week camp at the Grove that draws many prominent men, including business leaders, government officials, musicians and even some former U.S. presidents. Members must invite guests to the Grove, and though the club allows entrance to spouses and relatives, they must follow strict regulations that dictate when they can visit. And what is even more peculiar, is that they worship a giant wooden owl and afterwards burn it, seeming to be part of some ritual or tradition at the club. Somewhere in a remote area in central Australia lies the U.S. satellite surveillance base known as Pine Gap. 3 of the nation's top intelligence agencies, the CIA, the NSA and the U.S. National Reconnaissance Office, run the highly classified facility. The station functions primarily to collect geolocation data and weapons and communications signals from other countries via satellite. For obvious reasons, only officials with the proper clearance can gain access to the facility. Thank you for watching this video till the end. If you enjoyed this video, please like. If you enjoy this channel overall, please subscribe. Until the next video everyone, goodbye.